Well, GM. Good morning. Good morning.
GM, how are you?
It's I'm good. It's been a minute. We are
It has.
back
We've been
in.
on the road
We have
collectively, but not
collective.
together, but at the same time. Yeah.
Me, a very long road.
Yes.
I just drove across country from New York to Seattle, which was quite a trip. And when you look at it on a map, you go, it's not that bad. And then you're into day 9 of driving, and it's 9
It's because
hours.
maps are like I can hold it in my hand. How far could it really be? Yeah. Yeah.
How big can it be? But it just
Yeah.
it's staggering how gigantic this country is. It's
Yes.
stunningly beautiful and has its little pockets of prejudice and it's very colorful, shall we say, in
Yep.
all the ways. So
Yep. Yeah. I
yeah.
saw something like comparing the population of Australia to like California and like then taking California out of the US and putting it like actual size
Mm,
on Australia. And it's I mean it's not like and then it covers Australia, but it's like it is a chunky state. And if that's like the size of it, a whole continent on the globe, yeah. US is big in landmass and yeah,
yeah.
there's tons of clusters of folks that you know so yeah, no, that's awesome. I went less, but we like planted many roots in Ohio, which people were like, "Why are you going to Ohio?" But like, we're big concert people, and so while there, though, it's like, oh, this would have been much easier if it was on chain. Oh, if this just happened, like, if these people just were on chain, I could just fix this easy. And so it's cool that there's still like all those opportunities. And then there were some folks where it's like, I need to like send this money to you. I go, do you take crypto? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, finally, thank you. And then I was like,
Really?
here, and like it paid in like
That's
two
awesome.
seconds. And yeah, yeah. So like, and then especially like base, and they're like, what? And then I got to like tell them about base. And like, well, it's this, and you can flip. And if you use Coinbase, like, oh, hey, it's Coinbase. Like, oh, then it doesn't even matter. Then like you can just like send it to your Coinbase, and I think you just have to pick the wallet for like the chain. And with some of these announcements we'll get into, like I think that even will likely go away. And yeah, so onboarded someone into base, whether they were open to it or not, really quickly and paid them. And yeah. So it was a great trip, but also like seeing opportunity, but then also seeing like some adoption too was also cool.
I love that that was like our first kind of conversation after we get
We get
reconvened.
right back on chain. Yeah,
Yeah, we were both
it's
like,
in our
"That's all
DNA.
right." It is, and, I'm as you know, but as other people watching might not know, but I'm living on a remote island for, a month right now, which is why I drove across country with
We're
my wife.
trapped. Convert them all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, but, there's a very small kind of cottage industry of businesses, so they're literally like, one person or maybe 1 or 2 people that have opened little businesses, and it's generally either farmed, foraged, or makers that I'm coming across, and I'm like, this whole island could be crypto empowered. Like we could make that
Yeah.
happen in the month that I'm here. And I even sent Jesse Pollock a
One,
message like, "Hey Jesse, what do you think about like me maybe doing some outreach?" And he's like, "Do it, do it."
yeah.
But
Make Base Island happen.
exactly. But we
Yeah.
just yesterday, and this is kind of speaks to like the community aspect of living on an island with only 900 people that you have to take boat to get off. I went to there's a farm on the island called Full Bloom Farm, and it's not staffed. It's completely honors based,
Wow.
right? So you just shop, and there's a little notepad, and you write what you purchased, and then there's PayPal and there's Venmo, and if you want to write a check or leave cash, you put it in an envelope and put it and place it in the box. And I'm like, this is primed
Yeah.
for
One more, just take USDC
wallet.
and yeah, that would
Yeah.
be huge. I also think like with those small like things like the operating on certain margins and whatnot, like
Mhm.
removing out like a credit card fee for like
Yes.
instantaneous and like the no backsies. Like you and I were talking recently even about like the friendly fraud where
Yep.
like someone's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you, and then they get the thing and they go back home and they're like, bank, someone stole my card or whatever, and get that like refunded. And
Yep.
now the person's out the product, and there's like a fee that's hitting them. So like it's almost a safeguard against that alone. Almost
Mhm.
makes it worth it. And yeah, I'm happy to. I'm almost chomping at the bit to jump into like some of this news, but like the trying to become the front door to
Mhm.
on chain and make that as welcoming and easy and frictionless as possible. I think we are primed to see that just get better and better and better to where I always joked where like my mom can't buy crypto. Like it would be too confusing. I think we're getting close to where my mom could do that. And luckily enough, like we've got the storm coming. Luckily, she's moved up like out of the storm range because she's in Florida. But like she needed funds or whatever, like waiting on banks, or if banks are like flooded out, like how do you get money, right? And like so being able to do that just real quick on chain, and it's frictionless, and she has it instantly, almost like 18 seconds tops kind of thing. I think there's just more, unfortunately, some of these disasters that we're seeing, like it's a quick way to get money to the people and actually start to make an impact directly. So
we saw that with Ukraine during the initial troubles. We had some friends who lived in Poland, right over the Ukrainian border, and they were trying desperately to just house people that was flooding in across the border. And they said, unfortunately, all the banks didn't have any cash. Like, so even when folks came across the border, there was no way for them to withdraw and pay for groceries. Whereas you have a wallet, you have funds in your wallet, the stores now accept, not only does it keep those businesses in business, but you're able to get, vital necessities for those people on the ground. So yes, we haven't even got to an intro because we're like fully on chain.
Just on chain everywhere. It's because we've had a gap and we haven't got to geek out about all the awesome things that's happening on the Superchain.
Well, I'm going to document my island adventures. I haven't approached anyone yet about Base. But
I think if you, and again, happy to help in any way. I'm not on the island though, but I think if it's successful, or even if you get one or two places to like where like you can buy something here and then you can use the funds here, like to where now you've got a mini ecosystem, that's like a case study. Yeah. But if you really like, if people start to embrace it and you get like a handful of places, and then that's the success of it spreads, these 900 folks could all be on chain, but then it becomes like a literal destination for people with Base. Like Basecamp could be there maybe next year, like because it's, hey, let's go be on an island, and crypto's accepted everywhere on the island. Like that's a story, but that's also now makes that place a destination to where it's injecting even more into like their local economy and stuff like that. So
and it's an inspiration for island cities and towns.
Or any like a small farm town. Like all we have to do is like we have phones. All we have to do is like get a wallet, and that's now easier. And like we buy some crypto, and now it's like I take my money and flip it into this digital currency, and now it flows a lot more quickly, and there's no backseas, and there's proof of like, oh no, I paid you. Like we can both confirm it on chain. Like
I know we're going to geek out on it if we go any deeper, but I was thinking like, I wonder at what point like local governments get annoyed that they're not able to collect certain taxes on things. Like I wonder when it starts to destabilize
and
what, say that again, did I come in and out?
You started like, you turned into a full-blown robot and froze. Whatever you said sounded great. Okay. And maybe
I wasn't supposed to say it because I was talking about governments being
the secret. The secret we're going to keep to ourselves. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're back now, so you're good. But do you want to dive into the intros and reset this whole thing?
Let's do it. Sure. So, all right. So GM, and welcome. Whether you are joining us for the first time or you're a part of our returning family, welcome to the Superchain Spotlight edition of the Good News Show. I'm Rachel Wilkins, and I am your co-host here, and I'm thrilled to have Mr. Brock, whichever side you're on here, aka Breadcat.
I'm not sure. I don't want to say. I'm on. For me, it's on the right, but I don't know if it switches for you. It's mirrors are weird.
Well, every Wednesday, bar a few, where we, take vacations and try to take over islands with on-chain communities. We are here talking about the Superchain ecosystem. Now, if you are not familiar with the Good News Show, we actually started in 2023, 101 weeks ago, and we're partnered with TIMEPieces, which is Time's Web3 initiative. And over the last almost 2 years, we've rolled out over 350 episodes, opened our doors to over 100 guests, and dived deep into the minds of some of the most brilliant innovators that are here on chain. All of this has been really in pursuit of one thing, and that is building a community of forward thinkers who share our excitement for what emerging technology has to offer. Now, with this show, obviously, we are zooming in on something quite specific, if I can get my words out, the Superchain. A new frontier with massive potential for creators and builders to become a part of a thriving economy. Now, if you're entrenched in the Superchain already, amazing. Or if you're just dipping your toes in, or you're super chain curious, you are in the right place. And we're going to actually unpack the super chain applications built upon it to bring you the freshest and most impactful information so that you can make the best decisions for you on where to invest your time and energy in this digital age. That was a mouthful. So what I would love, Brock, because it has been a minute, is if you could just tell our audience a little about you and your background.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Brock. Been a developer for I'm just gonna say 25 plus years. Hurts to go higher. My favorite things are helping people and problem solving. And once I found the transparency where you don't have to ask permission, you can just do things. You can just help people. You can just go. You can do things. And this wonderful blockchain sandbox. I've been spending the last probably like 4 or 5 years really kind of focusing my efforts on trying to make the world a better place through this technology. And sometimes I do that through creating, sometimes I do that through consulting, other times I do that from education and teaching. And I like helping people kind of understand and have more confidence as they move into this kind of new world. But as we get further and further, I think the ladders have been dropped and it's much easier to kind of jump on and climb aboard. And yeah, so I'm excited to see this rapid change for the better. And it's literally making the world a better place. So I'm excited to be a part of it and help others jump on too.
Amazing. And a little bit about me, still a staunch believer in the new technology that we're building here. But besides the Good News Show, like many people in Web3, I wear a lot of hats. Also the co-founder of Help, which is the easiest way to give and receive help on chain with simple, transparent crowdfunding, co-founded with yours truly, Mr. Brock. So definitely check that out. It's at sendhelp.xyz. Previously in my, I want to say past life now, because it feels like it, I had a company called Conception Arts, which supported over 8,000 artists in 16 cities worldwide. Most importantly, I got to know so many creators and understand how really this digital landscape can revolutionize how creators do business, how they grow their reach, how they make an impact. And also, just as an advisor, I've helped to guide both nonprofit and for-profits with on-chain experiences, with innovation, and with marketing. And I led the strategy to bring the first Keith Haring onto the blockchain back in 2022 at Sotheby's, which was super fun. And like our friend Brock here, I also am really passionate about education, and I've spoke about Web3 at UCLA and at the New Museum in New York City and a few other places online as well. So here we are. Let's get into it. It's been a busy couple of weeks. We have quite a few stories, but I think maybe we just jump right into this big OP story on interoperability, which is quite hard to say at 8:14 in the morning.
Yeah.
Give us your your techie breakdown on this book.
Yeah, so it's not quite settled fully. There's been some code put out there for kind of like the world to kind of react to and make adjustments to. But basically, the idea is if you're new to the superchain, there's something called Optimisn. It is kind of the foundational layer that empowers many different blockchains, and they're all able to work together with the same kind of technology stack. This would take it a step further and make tokens, so like currency tokens, as well as things like NFTs, more interoperable. So one of the superchain kind of blockchains is Base. Another one is Zora. And if this is when this comes to fruition, you'd be able to mint something on Zora and then have it immediately just frictionlessly sent and do things with it on Base. And it would reduce the cost, the time. It would take out the whole like element of like bridging, which where you would say like, okay, I'm going to take this NFT and lock it in a box over here, but then get a duplicate of it over here. And now I can use it over here. And now I want to go back. So I'm going to burn this thing. And then that unlocks the thing over here. Like there's just a lot of like steps and friction. And it's not that it's like abundantly hard, but it is work. And so this would allow things to just kind of seamlessly move from one to the other and empower people to do more things. So it'll speed developers up. It'll be less friction for users. It'll be less costly because that bridging on both sides requires two types of gas, two types of things. So all of that kind of goes away with this new kind of thought process and kind of unifies things on chain. So anything that works on the that is a part of the super chain would then work interoperable as far as tokens go. So I think it is a step in the right direction for, it's always been kind of a stumbling block. Just seeing kind of even like different NFT platforms, like where, oh, I minted something over here and I want to sell it because I want to get this art that really inspires me, or I want to take profit, or whatever the situation is. I would have to like lock it up over here because there might be more liquidity over there, and then remint it, and then now that person has it, but then they have to burn it and they can reveal it over here. Like this, all of that goes away, and you can just have more liquidity, more interoperability, more adoption, because maybe an artist minted it on this chain. That, oh, womp womp, you minted it on the old chain. Everyone's excited about this new thing, and there's again, it's across the super chain, but hopefully with like things like Solana and stuff can do that to where like even those steps become less as well. So then you truly have an asset that you don't need. Oh, you have to have this special container to use it. That all kind of goes away, and you can just use the things that you own across wherever you hope to play in. So I do think it's super cool, and yeah, I'm excited to see it come to fruition because I would love to use it, and I think it'll make. I can already start to kind of dream up, now that one element of friction is gone, different use cases for making things that work across chains.
Can you give us an example? Because I always like to kind of
Sure.
probe a little on this, but what's something you see that you're particularly excited about with this?
So something that would be really interesting, I think, would be as like NFTs, for example, have like a value that either grows or falls or whatever. You could then mint something on base, but then actually use it as assets to leverage for loans or whatnot on like a DeFi platform like Mode, and things like that. So then you don't have to like, oh, I'm going to port it over here to then loan it out. Like it would just be able to be swapped, lent, and then swap right back and whatnot. So like DeFi things with more things like that, more lockups. So like elements and specialized niches of different superchain blockchains would be able to like use their strengths, but with the asset, no matter where it would originated from. So I think that could be really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love what the OP Labs team are cooking. So love to see this. Very exciting to see interoperability coming to fruition.
Yeah, so the
So
interoperability is squared in a way, because there's a lot of stuff that was interoperable already between the different things as far as like a technology of like, oh, it works, it behaves the same across the majority, and there's some elements that can be like, oh, optionally use this versus that on the superchain. But with this, it really kind of like standardizes the tokens in a way that allows them to kind of be, you just throw your NFT and it gets caught in an expected way on the other chain, and you throw it back and it gets caught the right way. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see. I think it'll change more things for the better, where more you don't have to like I said, move everything around. It's cumbersome. It can all just happen behind the scenes, and then also it empowers developers to move more swiftly because it's already built. They don't have to worry about managing like bridging and all these other things. So
amazing. All right, we're going to pivot really quick to Base Global. So Base announced Base Around the World Buildathon series, calling on builders to solve local challenges by creating on-chain applications, whether it's improving access to financial services, fostering community connections, or empowering creators. The goal of this buildathon is to address real-world issues through blockchain technology. Now, builders are encouraged to leverage existing on-chain tools or create new tools to make a tangible impact in these communities, contributing to a better decentralized future for everybody. The best news is participants will compete for prizes from a 30 ETH prize pool per region, with 8 winners per region. And winners will also receive marketing support, networking opportunities, and recognition at Base events. To qualify, teams must submit a functioning on-chain app built on Base, hosted publicly, and include an open source GitHub repository. Projects should integrate Base names and smart wallet features, demonstrate real-world utility with a focus on community action. So we're seeing one in Asia, we're seeing one in Africa. I need to take a look and see where else this is happening, but super exciting again to just see Base really putting some funds in the trenches, giving it to builders, and hopefully we see some exciting things come out of the hackathon.
yeah, I think that like just when I saw this drop, I think it's one, living the values that kind of have been set out. That's like, this needs to be inclusive of everyone, basis for everyone, and you're seeing that like where they're putting money behind things. like doing different communities, I think that gives us new perspectives that maybe like, I think if things are really, really big in say America, there's like a shared experience, a shared perspective to some degree. Again, not saying everyone in a country is the same, but adding new countries into the fold, that's new problems that are now surfaced, new frictions that are surfaced that we can kind of solve for everyone, to where it just continues to adapt this global ecosystem in a frictionless way where, Web2 is very like, few win at all costs kind of thing versus like everyone winning together in an on-chain environment. And sure, like there's things that we need to do to remove more and more bad actors over time. However, seeing different countries come to the table and embrace it, and it really being like, here's a toolkit that can unlock tons of things, whether it's an island with 900 people or, it's a few countries in Africa working together. All kinds of things can start to be empowered and transparent and frictionless, and you don't need people's permission. It's kind of, again, unstoppable in a way where you build it and it just works and everyone can win by design. So it's cool to see this yet again being put at the forefront.
So we've got base Africa, Latin America, India, and Southeast Asia. Let me actually just share this so folks can see where to go find this out. Let's see, share screen. Yeah, well, first of all, here's the Devfolio page where you can go for each individual country or continent, and then you can actually go to base on X. Let's share that really quick. And there are links for each of these individual hackathons. So definitely go check that out. As far as I can see here, this is going till October 13th. So you've got, what, 5 more days? No, not even. Well, yes, 4 days. 4 days to get this done. You probably need to be heavy in the building phase by now. As we know.
I would say that there are some things like the on-chain kit that Base has put out that really lowers the bar from a technical standpoint. I'm not saying like that if you know no code, you can just jump in and start building apps. But there are some like examples that show you like, here's how to build a wallet connector. Here's how to build a wallet transaction like button. Here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. And so like, I think it just keeps getting better and better to wire those things together pretty easily from what it used to take. And so, who knows? I think if you feel strongly about it, then go for it. And if you missed it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. If you're interested in it and you think that it could make a difference, there are things like retro grants on the Superchain if you do need some funding. There's also like grants that you can apply for outright. So even if you missed this, if it's pushed you a little bit towards, I should build that. Even if it's going to be hard, like lean into it and ask for help, because there's tons of people that are open and willing to help. So it's cool to see like this. I know they're not calling it on-chain autumn, but seeing that kind of take hold where it didn't just stop in summer. It's cool to see it too.
Yeah.
Wait, did they start doing on-chain autumn?
No.
Oh, okay, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I just wanted to share this because we were talking about, you mentioned opportunities. This is an opportunity. Tony Hawk actually came on to the Timepieces show last week and shared this. This is an initiative by Yellow. It's not actually by Base, but it's Base and Yellow, and Base are actually matching the prize pool. So there's there was a 3 ETH prize pool that was put up by Base and Yellow, and they obviously supported with an additional 3 ETH. So 6 ETH in prizes and grants. The Yellow Collective wanted to keep the energy of On-Chain Summer going. You have to be following Base and Yellow, and you can just go to Toady Hawk, Toady_Hawk on X, or you can find him on Farcaster. And you can go check out this new fall-themed art contest every week via rounds, a Yellow Builder Retro round, and also some fun collaborations with the likes of MoshiCam, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to do something with the Good News. I just haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Maybe you and I can do something with help, but I highly encourage everybody to go and check out Toadie's profile to learn more about that. And we can drop links.
Also, Melissa Burt was also on that. I just saw her.
Yes, she is. Can we just give some flowers to Burr?
She's amazing.
Like,
yeah, and even just like she's passionate about poker, and there's like she has her own groups, but then also she's joined the Kevin group, the cult of Kevin. That's not what it's called. The Yappers. He's building an app called Yap, and it's awesome. And yeah, so she's joined that crew as well, and it's hosting like daily poker tournaments that with prize money like every single day. And like not only is it just like, yeah, you can win some money, but like I see just like even when people lose, like it's almost celebrated. Learning like new skills, wants to kind of chiming in and helping folks and stuff like that. Just it's amazing to see like the on-chain, the community, and then the passions all kind of like forging into one path. And those are like just as much as like turning an island into on-chain. Sometimes it's the finding the communities and being able to share value and knowledge and help other people enjoy maybe something new or get better at something they've done before. Like these are the things that all of this is kind of bringing us together to do. And she's just a master at that, at like helping people and uniting people and sharing information and knowledge and having fun too. So great person.
I'm glad we got her early before she was too famous for us, because
she said she would come back whenever. Like I think all we have to do is ask. But she is running tournaments every day, so like we just had to give her enough.
These good people,
like heads up. Yeah. But yeah, she is awesome.
I have to say that Yap chat though, I cannot keep up. That is probably the most active forecast.
It has. Yeah. While I was on vacation, it's like I think it capped out. It's like 99 plus notifications, and I was like, oh boy. So like, yeah, I need to catch up and get back in there. But it is fun.
I don't know about you, but I find myself split even more now between so many different places, like where people are. I think with a lot of communities leaving Discord, people are a little more scattered. So you're in Telegram groups, you're in WhatsApp groups, you're in Twitter DMs, you're in Farcaster DMs. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need a client to consolidate everything.
A client for clients of clients. Yeah. Yap is kind of trying to be the on-chain version of Discord without some of the downsides, and so it's been cool to see Kevin building this. There's like a live demo right now. I don't know if it's super public though, but if you buy even one of his fan tokens, I think you get into the group Discord, and then you can, or the group chat on Warcast, and then you can jump into the Yap demo, and he's just pushing updates all the time. So
amazing. All right, let's pivot to our next story. So we've covered on-chain autumn, new round of builder grants from Base again. So let's just give a shout out here. Let me just pull them up. Themed, it looks like they are going to folks who are part of this ecosystem for the Buildathon, which is awesome to see. Just more ways to support on-chain builders. Let me just pull this up so we can give a shout out.
Yeah, I think it was they also shouted like where they were from too, which was kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So we've got beginner session on Base in Nigeria. We've got an on-chain summit. Where is that? It doesn't say, but we've got Safaricaster. That's fun. Like to see it. Cryptoji in the Philippines. Base Africa and Base Earn. MoshiCam. That's fun. On-chain ticketing for Farhack Kampong and Sea Launch. So congratulations to all of those winners of Builder Grants for Wave 19. They've been doing this for, there's been 19 weeks, months. I'm not entirely sure how long it's been spread out, but we were part of week 16, so we're very excited about that. And congrats to all the builders. All right, what else?
Farcaster is super awesome. By the way, like I still go back and check. For those that don't know, it's a frame on Farcaster that you can like see a snapshot real time of a place in a Safari. And I think it's right by a watering hole, and so you see different animals come up.
What's those guys?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then if you see like an animal, it will identify it real time, like what the animal is, which is crazy also. And then you can click to mint. So if you like spot an animal, you can see that. And sometimes there's like things that only come out at night, things that come out in the day. And so yeah, I minted a few when I check in. Not that I'm like checking in on it daily, but like it's just cool to see it. Like you almost have a portal to another place on the globe, and you're sitting there and being able to watch and see all these kind of animals and things that you just, unless you're at a zoo, are unlikely to see. And then it's also cool because it's almost like this is the one I found. Like sure, there's other people that are finding it too. But it's like this is mine. And I think if you are the first to mint, there's like a little shout out too of like so and so spotted at this. So yeah, it's a cool thing. I'm glad that they're getting a grant.
I love that. I did not realize that was those guys. That's so fun.
Hmm.
Okay, so awesome to see continued funding going out to all of these causes. Just to recap, so you've got the Base Global Buildathon happening for another 4 days. Builder Grants round 19 just went out, and you also have this on-chain autumn opportunity as well. So lots of things happening. We also saw last week the announcement around Shape, which is a new L2. Shape is a creator-focused blockchain where culture takes root through art, ideas, and experimentation. It offers a place for anyone to build, design, and contribute to the ever-expanding web of creativity. Now, Shape empowers creators by rewarding their cultural contributions through gas back, returning 80% of sequencer fees and contract fees to the contract owners. Okay, so the network is open, transparent, and free from gatekeepers, encouraging all forms of creativity from fine art to experimental ideas. This is interesting. Did see a smidge of FUD, but we're not going to talk FUD last week. But I think the FUD was mainly around people not necessarily understanding the platform right out the gate. And maybe just some teething problems. The team seemed to be very responsive from what I saw. But what's your hot take on this?
So honestly, I've not looked into it too much. I saw the announcement. And I was like, oh, okay. But I did pull up like the website this morning. So by no means am I an expert, or do I have all the clarity. But it does seem like there's ways to earn medals, and so there's like a leaderboard of sorts. And
Yeah.
some of the things that you can earn medals towards, like minting NFTs or creating NFTs, and things like that. And so it's almost like a social leaderboard of like
Mm.
how you show up on chain. And so it's a new spin on that. I do think there's other things that are trying to do similar as far as like the base names, and like that has like your reputation, and like there's a base score and other things like that. So it'll be cool to see how this evolves. For like early people that are jumping on, you might are likely to probably get your NFTs like have a little more attached like attention with this kind of like land grab kind of starting out the gate. But yeah, so we'll see where it goes and how it goes. But the cool thing that they do have is like a live feed of like who's grabbing medals on what, and then you can go and look at what that medal was for and what got them that. So in a way, it's kind of like discovery too, baked in. So I could see it doing something if people get around this. But we'll see. It's very new, and so yeah.
I think it's more of a philosophical question than a technical question, but I do worry
Sure.
about what collect to earn does to creativity.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I understand why a lot of people think it's the solution to discovery, because we're kind of monetary driven creatures, especially those people that are here. But how long can that sustain, and how does that impact the quality of work that comes out? Like, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think you see this a lot where it's like there's a flooded when anyone can create and the barrier can be low, and then there's points for doing something low, where I could do. I think it's where we got into like the open mints kind of
Mm.
situation. And I do think there's magic in open mints, but I do think there was some like very low effort open mints that were just very speculative, to where it's like I'm going to charge $1 for this thing to unlimited, but then there's a surprise maybe later, and you're almost like baiting people in. And so like 50,000 people meant it. You made $50,000 off nothing, and then you don't even have to like. I think that's where it gets into trouble. But I do think like we just have to look at what NFTs can be a lot of things, and so I'm not saying that it's only NFTs, but I do think digital artwork sometimes it's less about the art and more about like the story behind it. And I think
Mm.
sometimes everyone's adults, and so like they can buy what you can buy whatever you want. You can buy a picture of a donut, or you can buy the picture of a donut that was like the last meal of someone's aunt, and like that's not somehow resonated with you, and now it's special, right? And so I think it just depends on the person. But when you are rewarding, like you're going to get points, and like there's going to be people that try and just abuse that to try and just get a lot of points, and for better or worse. But I do think that the flip side of that is that everything's transparent. And so seeing, hey, here's this person, they've got a lot of points, and you go there and it's a lot of low effort stuff that doesn't mean much. Like I think that only lasts for so long. And then the other side would be like, if there's only so much capital in the giant pool of this space, and people are siphoning it out for like this silliness. Yeah, you could see where it's like this is just circular, and eventually it's going to go down to zero. And I think that we saw that in like the last bull run where anything you meant is worth money, and I think that can be great for discovery sometimes, but also it can be you discover that you just bought some nonsense. And so we'll see. I do think that the beauty is that if shape continues to grow and it becomes one form and something else continues to grow and becomes another, then aggregating like the three or four of these together does give you a better silhouette of like who a person is, their traction, how they've shown up. And so like the people that are showing up and kind of like burning bridges by short-term things, that's going to start to become very, very easy to see over
Yeah.
time. Whereas the people that are here that are doing meaningful stuff, that are telling stories or trying to make a difference or trying to sell a product or a service or whatever that is valuable, that also will become very clear too. So over time, I think the truth will suss out. And if someone has a brand new wallet, oh, you literally have no history. So that's tough. That's a tough uphill battle too. So like burning your account, and then thinking you can just start over. I think over time, it's like it's been going on for over a decade. You have no history at all.
Yeah.
That's weird, right? So, yeah.
I do think there were a couple of big global kind of headline stories this week that, while they're not Superchain specific stories, I think they're a good signal for the industry. First of all, Violetta Zeroni, she's a musician. She just sold one song for one BTC. So one song for $60,000. Yeah, we had her on the Timepieces show on Monday. Huge signal potentially for musicians to see one song be sold without copyright, anything, just the song, the original song. We also saw last night the HBO documentary about who is Satoshi Nakamoto. Don't think anybody figured out who it actually is, but there was a lot of hype about that documentary. So I'm sure that the viewership was pretty impressive. And then also a big punk sale of I think 53 million USD was the equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just money laundering, but like you said, there's the meme that is sometimes unfortunately true of like, just give yourself $2 million for the NFT. Now you have $2 million and an NFT worth $2 million. Like it's the magic money glitch.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe someone super wanted that, but I believe that it was more advertising. I heard that there was like a micro loan, like a flash loan that was involved.
Yeah.
And so like, lend me this much money, and then you're just basically like going from one hand into your other hand, and now you've got a bunch of eyes, and like the cost was just whatever the interest was for that like
Yeah.
millisecond loan or whatever. So yeah, space is still wild, but I do think that you're right. Like there is the slow drum, but I think this someone was having a conversation out loud on one of the platforms, and they're like, "What do you think? You know, the last four cycles, like this was like altcoins were crazy, NFTs were crazy, blah blah blah," and like almost hinting that like AI was going to be the next thing. And I sure maybe, but also I think that it's the actual solutions, like the disruptors of the status quo. Like,
Mm.
hey, we just now buy houses on chain, or hey, we just now like your DMV driving records, everything is just on chain, and you can just renew it using this like wallet. And we're already starting to see that take hold in certain states in the U.S. of like, we'll take Bitcoin or Ethereum for your water bill. It's like what?
Which is
Really?
wild, right?
Yeah.
Make
And
people's
so
lives easier, like solve global problems, then let's talk.
mhm. So I do think that like sure, there's gonna be something that pops off like whenever, but I also think that like the thing that's popping off the most is more and more people becoming on chain because it's
Mhm.
just slowly trickling into their lives to where, um, of course, like why did we do it? The like why did we write checks ever when we could be doing it this way? And like no checks in the mail, like no, you have it. You have the I paid you in 18 seconds, and you can't say that I didn't because I have a transaction that went to your wallet that you like. So it just, yeah, I think that's the thing that we're going to see the most. That I'm most excited about. Like, sure, there's some speculation like AI and gaming or AI gaming or all this other things. Like, sure, maybe, but I also think that like disruption of like more and more people jumping on chain and jumping into it, like where there's just we're 1% on a good day and
Mm.
becoming 10% in this cycle is a 10x
Right.
across the board of people and usability, and again, removing frictions where like the quality of life of being on chain just continues to get better and better and better. And so I think that's where we're headed. And sure, maybe money go up or what number go up, but also like I think
Higher.
the biggest number that we need to go up is like the number of people using it, because then
Mhm.
all of these tokens and coins and NFTs, they get even more utility because even more people recognize the value and the usage and the use cases. So
We're 27 days out from the US election. We're not going to talk politics, but we will say that both candidates have now actively spoken about the role of crypto. So Stand with Crypto is doing amazing work. Definitely a big shout out to them. And it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks here in the US, but I'm staying on in my little bubble on this island here. So that's all we're going to touch on that topic.
yeah,
But last thing I would just want to touch on is the Purple app. Let's talk about Farcaster. There was some changes that were made to channels this week. We don't know too much detail. Um, anything that's
for channels, I think this is like phase one of continuing to improve channels.
Mhm.
And so there's like now you're going to start getting peppered if you haven't already with notifications from all the channels that you subscribe to. You also start getting invites to become a member of a channel. Members of channels can actually like post. You can follow a channel and not be a member, and I think you can just read. And so it's a way of like reducing spam in a decentralized way. And then there's like more like kind of strike rules and other things that can be done through some of the other kind of third party things like AutoMod and whatnot. And so this is just the first step in many to try and continue to make channels like a very quality piece of the ecosystem. And so like that's been the biggest change, is that you didn't get kicked out, but you have to become a member, I think, to actually be able to post. And from that, like some channels have almost gone quiet because the owners haven't like started kicking that process off.
Mm.
Some frames came out. There's some other options. So like there's some channels that even I mod that I need to get up because I've been traveling. I just haven't been able to do it. Um, but yeah, so I think it's a step in the right direction. And I think it'll lead to a better end result. But right now, I think your notifications are probably a little chaotic. Like it hurt my head to like open. I'd been off the Purple app for the vacation as like I was, and I came back and it's like, why? What is all this? Too much information and different shapes that I'm used to, and like it was too overwhelming. And I ended up the one positive I think was I found some channels that I had been following that I like didn't really keep up with and like don't mean much to me anymore. So I was able to like unfollow those to
Mm.
kind of clear up my space and curate my feed a little bit more. But yeah, there's still a lot that I have to kind of like dive into and find out how I'm going to use it now going forward and stuff like that. So
Let's talk Degen since we're talking Farcaster app. Since we last spoke, Degen had a little bit of a run because
yeah,
it was listed on Coinbase. Also, shout out to Jesse Pollock. Congratulations to him for the new additional role of taking on Coinbase Wallet,
yeah, I think
which is
that's actually huge news too. Like there's basically Coinbase Wallet. So even though it has the name Coinbase in it, Base is I believe taking over development for that app, which Jesse is kind of part of the reason of why Coinbase is so easy to use and whatnot. And so now taking it, that is, although it says Coinbase Wallet, is going to be more of a general use for many things. It will have direct pipes into Coinbase, which I think will help as far as like on ramping and off ramping. But the features, he's kind of had this vision that he's been putting out there for a while for like, it's not just this, it's not just that. It's got to be bigger. It's got to be easier. Like bigger in the forms of like the more things that you can do frictionlessly within it.
Mhm.
And I think that we're seeing all those kind of pieces on the table come together slowly. And I think this is a huge unlock where the base team can just continue to do everything they've been doing in a huge way, but make a wallet that works for everyone at any level. And really, yeah, some of his tweets. He also asked, like, there was a big post of like, if you were the benevolent dictator of Coinbase Wallet for the day. Uh, I love those kinds of questions because I think that gets to like, this is what I would fix. Like this is, I'm screaming at you that this is my huge pain point. And so it's a
Mhm.
great information gather when people ask that. Um, and yeah, so I'm very, very excited. Uh, if I'm being truthful, I'm currently like hard rooted into like using Rainbow for a lot of things. And So I need to stop dragging my feet and kind of like import my stuff into Coinbase Wallet. Not that I have to only have one wallet, but I do think that there's a lot of features coming, things that are easier if I just kind of like jump over. But yeah, starting completely over from my setup is just going to take a little time. So I've been reluctant to do it, but yeah, I'm excited because it was already a good wallet, but I think it's now on the path to become like the best wallet,
Yeah.
potentially. And again, you have the power of choice. I'm not hard selling or anything like that for it, but some of the things that he's put out there, I think will revolutionize, and hopefully other wallet platforms join suit in doing the similar pathing to make it more than just you can send money and stuff like that. So yeah, exciting
Yeah,
time.
I'm bullish on Jesse and whatever he's applying his knowledge and sense of community to. I think he's one of um, the great innovators that we have here, and obviously cares about community. So I'm bullish on him. I'm bullish on whatever it is we are going to see coming out of this team, because I will say it was really fun as well to see him on the executive page with his punk next to all those headshots, a sign of the times, if you will.
Yes. Yeah,
So
I still think that we're close to where like NFT avatars that are like your identity will soon be used in like professional headshots. I think there's going to be some, I don't want to say old guards dying off or anything like that, but I do think that like the form of transparency of like who you really are is also like right on the cusp as well.
yeah,
Where it's like it's no longer weird. Like, it used to be terrible that somebody had a tattoo, and now it's almost like hard to find someone that doesn't have a tattoo.
yep.
And I think we're in a similar phase where it's like business professional or like a professional headshot. Um, there'll be some people that stick to that, but then there'll be other people that are just like, I'm really more to this avatar, and like this is more my identity than me going like in like a suit that you'll never see me wear or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting to see that shift also happening in real time.
So DGen, the lockup of tips came to an end for most people this week. So the choice to either keep them locked up or cash out, take some liquidity was on the table. But we also saw a little bit of an adjustment with tipping, specifically around the topic of tip for tips, which essentially is the idea that you and your friend are tipping each other back and forth, and therefore, kind of going against what this ecosystem is trying to accomplish, which is rewarding quality content. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good step. I think that something that it's a very complex thing, and so I don't mean to say like, oh, it's easy, I've got it all figured out, but I do think there's a lot of steam lost from fighting farming of it. But that's like a
Mm-hmm.
short term thing. I think longer term, we're finally getting to like the right spot. So like the tip for tip thing and cutting down on that, I do think will help. I also think like the lockup thing, although there was some resistance, like it just like, hey, like get some skin in the game, then puts also like positive pressure from more people that want to jump in. And so I think from these things, you are seeing like the token turn around a little bit. Not financial advice. I mean, do whatever you want. I don't care. But hopefully we can get back to where it once was, not necessarily just financially, but community wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the community, like a lot of people came in looking at the dollar signs or were just there and like I got dollar signs and I was just here but there out of that came some cool art, memes, all these things that people I think people look for that identity or that sense of belonging, and it was really cool at its peak. Like the vibes were almost equal to the value of the token, and then as the token, like more people came in, more people like started selling and all these other like, but then the changes constantly I think like was tough to keep up with. I think now it's settling a little bit and it's become kind of a more mature way of doing things. So we'll see where it ends up. But yeah, it does. I think you're seeing a positive turn on the token because of some of the positive changes on the. So by removing a lot of the farming that was happening, you're getting back to quality engagement, where like it's getting back to quality tipping and more thoughtful tipping, instead of just like, hey, I have 1,000, do you have 1,000? Let's just trade
Yeah.
basically on each other and like slowly milk this thing. And
Yeah.
because some people are dropping out because they don't have skin in the game, it's higher allowances for people that are still around, and so then you're seeing more the ability to kind of spread more amounts across artists and people that you care about, or content that really seems engaging. And so it's getting back to kind of like its roots of like it's a tipping thing,
Yeah.
and you're actually able to give value to people that are valuable through quality content instead of GM, and then that person just made like $30 for saying GM from
Yeah.
10,000 people, but then that person goes and gives their $4 to the same like the opposite person. Like it removes that like money cycle for
Mhm.
small amounts to now being more of getting back into the thoughtfulness. So
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that is your show, folks. That is the Superchain Spotlight. Such a pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you for tuning in. And we will be back hopefully this time next week, Brock. What say you?
sounds good to me.
All right. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
See you, friends.
Bye.